Welcome to this edition of the Hoel Roofing and Remodeling Podcast. Today, my special guest is Derek Fordyce, and he came in here today. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and he's got a business called BINSness, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Just small local business owner, and just wanted to hop behind the mics and have conversation. So, Derek, go ahead and introduce yourself, your family, and we'll go from there.
I'm Derek Fordyce, as he said. I'm the owner-operator of BINSness, LLC. We are a small dumpster rental company, just started up here in the Rushville area, serve Rush County and the surrounding counties. I've got a social media on Facebook. You can look it up, BINSness.
And what you want to tell us a little bit about, are you married, got any kids?
I'm married. Between my wife and I, we have 5 kids ranging from 20 down to 5.
Nice age range there.
Yeah. Little backstory on that. We've both been married and divorced. She's got the 2 older boys, and I've got my own 3 that are 10, 8, and 5.
Okay.
And hers are 20 and 17. So we have 4 boys and 1 girl who's the youngest.
Ooh.
So she's got 4 older brothers that are very protective.
Good for her. It's funny you bring that up. My youngest is a girl, and she is. So I've got 3. The oldest one's a boy, then girl. And the oldest girl looks just like my wife, but acts just like me. The youngest girl looks more like me. Hopefully when she gets older, she looks like her mom. And but she acts a lot like her mom. And, man, she knows that she's cute. And there's this times that, like, she'll say stuff, and it's just like – and the funny thing is being the baby, everybody talks for her. And
Yep.
she's still – some of the stuff she says, like, even being her dad, and she turns 5 next week, here in a week and a half – like, I still have to translate into, like, Riley's terms, so it's just, it's kind of funny. So the littlest one's a girl. So what made you want to get in the dumpster rental business?
Honestly, I just kind of jumped into it.
Okay.
I did a lot of research. I was actually looking for a side business to help supplement some home income.
Yep.
And did a lot of research, had some other guys in the area that have owned their own small business with dumpsters and stuff, talked to them for like a month straight. I mean, I had one guy that I called like every day.
Right.
Just be like, hey, man, what about this? Or, how'd you handle this kind of situation? And I wasn't even in the business yet.
Right.
So I just got to the point where I was like, man, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So I just did it. I come from a strictly ag background.
Okay.
Work is nothing for me.
Yep.
I just wanted to help people out, and I know the trash industry in our area is kind of dominated by some very large companies.
Yep.
And I was like, well, might as well try to jump in, swim with the sharks when I'm just a minnow. So I'm gonna do the best I can. I've kind of been known for doing things that I dig myself a hole and be like, well, I'm going to get out of that hole. So.
Well, and as an entrepreneur, like, you just got to do it. I've been around people that ask a million questions for 6 months or 9 months or a year, and, like, sometimes you just got to do it and figure it out. Like, we're learning stuff every single day. Like, today we had a customer say, sign off on something verbally, and then we done it, and they're like, well, no, that's not what I expected. So now it just kind of kicks us in the butt to remind us to make them sign off on an actual physical paper.
Yep.
So like you've got to just figure it out. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, like that's just that's just what you got to do. So who is your primary customer? Homeowner cleaning out the garage this spring when they're tired of the wife's tired or the husband's tired of the wife's stuff.
Yeah.
Or what's that look like?
So my ideal customer would be, a small garage clean out, small remodel job, something like that. I've currently just got 13-yard dumpsters. I call them bins because dumpsters to me is, not the greatest word. People think trash. So
yeah.
I kind of spiced it up a little bit with BINS.
Yeah.
So, but no, my ideal customer would be, garage clean out, barn clean up. I actually got a phone call this evening. A guy's wanting to tear down a house, and he's just wanting to take windows out, countertops out, and then tear down the house. And he's like, well, what would this price be for, that kind of stuff? So.
How'd you come up with the name Bugs Bins? So you kind of said the bins part, but how'd you come up with the bugs?
So this is kind of a dual purpose nickname.
Okay.
My wife calls me Bug.
Okay.
But growing up, my mom and aunts always called me Bugsy, like Bugs Bunny.
Okay.
Because when I was really little, I had a Bugs Bunny outfit that I just loved to always be in. So I kind of did a dual purpose when I was thinking of the name. I was like, well, my wife calls me Bug. I was growing up as Bugsy, so I was just like, I'll just do Bugs Bins.
So what you really need to do for marketing is get an adult version of that costume, because you talk about going viral. Like you talk about something good for marketing, you know, on social media. So
we'll look into that. I honestly thought when I did my logo and stuff, I thought about trying to put like Bugs Bunny on it, but then I was like, man, if find out, they might try to copyright me or come out.
Yeah, there probably is some kind of copyright.
We'll just stick with the name for now and look into it later, maybe.
I mean, as business owners, sometimes we just do stuff and hope it. I use the Pink Panther on stuff. I should probably watch how I say that, but I mean, I'm a preferred contractor, so there's just some guidelines where how close it can be to other stuff and stuff like that. But I've kind of got permission on on using part of that. So okay, so that makes sense, because I wondered, I was looking at your name, trying to figure that out, and I was just like, what the heck? So primary Rush, Shelby, Decatur counties. Your goal. So you say it's a 13-yard bin or dumpster. I'm trying to picture like what rough size, just so if anybody's listening or watching.
So my dumpsters are 14 feet long, roughly 7 feet wide. They kind of taper towards the bottom.
Okay.
I've got barn doors, so 2 different doors that swing out.
Yep.
And can chain back, so people can actually walk into them, put stuff in if it's heavy stuff. But they're only 4 feet tall.
Okay.
So you can definitely throw stuff over.
Okay.
My biggest selling point was that my bins will fit in a parking spot.
Okay. Nice.
So it's not one of those big long, 20, 30, 40 yarders that's 10 feet tall and 40 feet long.
Yep. So what, do you have a flat rate for your service?
So my current rates, which are always changing, it seems, just because competition in the area, my current rates are $325 for a 3-day minimum.
Okay.
And that includes the first 2 tons. And it's $50 a ton after that, and $25 a day up to 7 days.
Okay.
I'm doing my research now on possibly doing longer rental rates or days, periods, but I'm still doing a lot of research.
So what's the average, if a homeowner's cleaning out their garage, like what's the average weight if they do fill one up?
So the heaviest load I've had this business adventure has been 1 1/4 tons, and that was with an apartment clean out.
Okay.
So
I kind of figured just from, our dump trailers that we use for like siding jobs and stuff, most of our dump trailers are 14 feet. They're not 4 feet deep, but especially when it comes, I've dropped my trailers off. It's usually team members that are like, hey, I need to clean something out. Can I take a dump trailer home this weekend? And it's always real bulky, so it's not really like packed in there, real heavy or anything like that. So that's why. Just to kind of give, a potential customer, roughly what, because I understand the weight, because I dump at the dump. I know they're going to charge, extra for that. So you said when we were on the phone the other day, you said you'd like to have them out within 24 or 48 hours of somebody calling you. So you're giving them a quick turnaround.
Yes, that's the ideal thing. It's just one of those things that, from all the research I've done, the biggest thing that people have complained about is them getting picked back up.
Right.
I've talked to you even a little bit about it. You don't want them sitting around in somebody else's yard or driveway or anything like that. I have a 3-day minimum, but if they fill it up in a day, day and a half, 2 days, I tell them, I say, hey, call me. I'll come pick it up as soon as I can.
Right.
And it's out of your way, and it's, a done deal.
So what does, do you have a trailer? How's that look when you would show up at a customer's house?
So I have a 3/4 ton truck and a gooseneck trailer, and I ask for a picture of the drop off location if they're not home, because a lot of my stuff I do in the dark.
Yep.
Because it's a side business right now. So the earliest drop off I have done is 5 a.m.
Right.
And I've picked up at 4:30 a.m.
Right.
So all I ask is for a picture of the location where they want it. You know, I've had a couple customers I never even saw face to face.
Right.
You know, they send me a picture, they send me a text. Hey, can we do these dates? Yeah. This price. You know, I tell them how much I charge for days and tonnage, and I just say, hey, send me a picture.
Right.
Done deal.
Nice.
So, I will say on the other services, I don't know if I talked to you about this or not.
No, not
but
at all.
I've actually extended my services. I do what I call a home pickup.
Okay.
So if people don't have a full dumpster, you know, if they're cleaning out the garage and they've got a pickup truck load or less,
okay,
hey, send me a message. I'll look at what you have and give you a rough price, and I'll come pick it up.
Right.
And for whatever price, and I'll get rid of it. You know, it's not just strictly dumpster rentals.
Okay.
And I actually just started, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I've offered like gravel hauling, dirt hauling, anything to help people out, basically.
Right, absolutely. Well, and what I've noticed is just once you get out there more, you help a couple people, you get them to post a picture on Facebook, whatever that looks like. That just, and a lot of people don't realize that, like how much that helps with a small business. You know, Adam, that's behind the cameras tonight, you know, he flat out said the other day he ran into another contractor, a competitor, and was like, well, you guys already own the market, you know, your stuff's everywhere. Well, we're just very intentional about having the logos on our trucks, you know, tons of swag, you know, sweatshirts and stuff like that, you know. I mean, I'm cheap, so, you know, I can buy a sweatshirt, put my name on it, it's a tax write-off, you know. So, you know, my kids, you know, lady I know real well is like, I see what you're doing there, Bob. She's like, you're buying your kids' clothes, and it's a tax write-off for you. I started laughing at her husband owns a business too. So she's like, it sounds like something we would have done when the kids were younger. So do you, any of your kids help you with the business?
I've got my youngest stepson who's still at home with us. He's actually shown some interest in helping out because with my other job, spring and fall, I'm really busy.
Yep. And
I even made the comment to him before this fall. I was like, hey, you know, if I've got a bin out, would you be interested in picking it up or delivering it for me? He goes, well, yeah. It's like, okay. So I was perfectly happy with that. I haven't had to use him yet, but.
And you say 17?
Yeah, 17.
So as long as he realizes the responsibility of a 3/4 ton truck.
Well, he's pretty responsible.
Right.
He's really responsible, actually, for his age. You know, he's straight A student, you know, top of his class. Well, top 5 in his class, nice. I think. So he's pretty good kid.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Quick story about my kids. I buy a truck for one of my guys, and I just trailered it home, and we're over at the farm where we're going to build a house, and I'm letting my son drive the truck, and my wife had went camping that weekend. The next day, she came by and dropped lunch off on her way home, and my son wanted to drive. And she's like, well, I have to ride with you. And he's like, no, Mom, Dad let me drive myself. And granted, my kid's pretty responsible. That's the first time I'd ever let him drive anything was the day before. And then literally I rode with him for 30, 40 feet. And he's a thinker, like watches things. I was like, all right, drive that back there. And he went to leave, and he has the braking, or he has the gas part down pretty well. The braking, a little touchy. He's 8 years old, okay?
Yep.
So he's driving this, and I'm a Chevy guy, and it's an F-150 I buy, and my wife's sitting in the passenger seat, and my 7-year-old's sitting on her lap, and Rhett hits the brakes, and my 7-year-old's head bounces off the windshield, cracks the freaking windshield.
Oh, my.
So my wife comes up to me, she's like, whatever you do, you promise me you can't be mad. And my son's standing by her, and I looked, and I was like, Rhett, what happened? He goes, my wife's like, no, it's a conversation between me and you. I'm like, no, it's not. I look at my son. He's like, Dad, I hit the brakes, in the truck. I was driving the truck. I hit the brakes, and Reagan's hit the windshield. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, it cracked the windshield. And my 7-year-old's like, Dad, my head doesn't hurt at all. It's like, I know, you're hard-headed like your mom and your dad put together. So yeah, no, I get it, like responsible kids and everything. It's just, as a business owner, like, you got to just, you got to take in the surroundings and, look at that. So you got, so how are you hauling the gravel then?
I'm actually just using a bin as a dump trailer. Okay. Essentially is what it is.
Okay.
So.
Nope, perfect. Now, do you have on your business card, you got Bugs Bins on there. Do you have that on your actual bins?
No, I do not have them labeled for some other reasons.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just didn't know.
I've got banners and I do have the big magnets that you can put your business information on. I put all that stuff on there, but I try not to paint or put stickers on them just because I hate the fact that when you put a sticker on, if it starts coming off or it fades, and then you're like, now you've got all that sticky mess to clean up or try to clean up. I've never been good at that kind of stuff. So I went the magnet route. Yeah. And I've already lost one magnet, which, those aren't cheap, but it is what it is. Anytime I do put a bin out, though, I put the magnet facing the road, and I've also got some yard signs that I put out and stuff like that.
Perfect. Yeah, no, just like I said, I was just with your business card. I seen your bin setting. You've got one sitting there just for notoriety there at the 3 and 52 there south of town. So I saw that. So yeah, because I noticed. Brian Rittberger had called me, a good friend of mine, friend of yours, probably 2 or 3 months ago, and asked me.
It's been a while, yeah.
And then you called me the other day, and I was like, and I noticed that bin there because his mom's in that office. Yep. She's my CPA and everything, and I've been going that way working on a house, so I noticed that. But I'm like, I watch for that kind of stuff, just to. Whatever it is, like I've always got marketing on my mind, like
it's funny you say that because I've lived in Rushville for 5 years now, and I've always seen your trucks around the last couple of years. And when I called Brian Rittberger and I was like, "Hey man, I'm starting this business adventure. Do you know anybody I could talk to?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "I'll send you his number." I'm like, "All right." And he gave me your number, and I was like, then I got busy with my other job, and I was like, we finally got finished up for this fall, and I was like, I'm gonna call him. Right. Just out of the blue, I was like, I'm gonna call him. But it's just funny because he told me, he's like, Hoel Roofing. I was like, I've seen those trucks all over the place. Why have I not put 2 and 2 together,
Well, and that's like one thing with us doing this podcast. Like I had a goal of doing 26 this year. We're gonna get it done. But it's like some of it I had planned out, but the last one we just shot, which will technically air before this one does, it was the old sales manager that trained me in the roofing business. Like he's in North Carolina. He literally texted me last Thursday, "Hey, do you have time for me to stop by your office tomorrow?" And I haven't seen him since he moved to North Carolina 4 years ago. And I was like, "Oh, absolutely." We tried to get together 1 or 2 other times, and it just hadn't happened. So like that's one of my goals, just doing this, like to get other small businesses spotlighted. And what we're doing for ours right now is we try to do every other podcast. One podcast kind of internal related, like talk to one of our team members, talk to one of our manufacturers, and then one external, like how can we help lift other small businesses in and around Rush County? Because I mean, like that's my business goal is to dominate Rush and surrounding counties, and then let everything else, like there just be like, oh, my Aunt Liz and wherever Anderson, will you do her roof? Well, absolutely. Yeah. Or I mean, we're into Ohio. We're doing a big apartment job starting on Wednesday. We're starting to get into Preble County area on some repairs and roof jobs, which I actually was born over there, so that's part of it. But it's just a lot of it here lately is more just our Google and marketing. Because the last job we did, the guy called. He's like, "Would you come this far?" And he told me what it was. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Normally we wouldn't like chase it," an hour that away, but it worked out. So, what is this something you want to eventually take full time? What's your thoughts there? What's the wife telling you?
Honestly, the wife doesn't talk to me a whole lot about it because she does her own thing with hair, and she comes home and she vents to me sometimes, and I just let that go. I'm like, yeah, I understand. You had a rough day, and there's times where I come home and I vent about my full time job to her, and she just stares at me and she's like, well, I mean, it's another day, But honestly, what little bit I've talked to her about it, I just said, wherever it goes, it goes. If it takes off, awesome.
Right.
If I fall on my face, which I really don't want to do, it is what it is.
Right.
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna starve because of it, obviously.
Right.
But I've had several guys that have been like, that's kind of a good industry to get into because there's always stuff to get rid of.
Right.
People are willing to pay to get rid of stuff. And I was like, well, if I can jump in, get my feet wet, and if it takes off, it takes off. Awesome.
Right.
I've always wanted to be self-employed. I always thought I was going to grow up and be a farmer.
Yep.
I mean, I would be 8th generation farmer, I think, in my family. But I didn't take that route, obviously. If it takes off, awesome.
Right.
I've had a lot of guys that are like, man, if you take off, you're going to have to get a bigger truck, get a bigger trailer, get more dumpsters or bins. He's like, and they've all told me, what are you going to do in the futures? I don't know. It's kind of wide open right now. So,
well, and a spot that you're in, you could probably get somebody semi-retired, and I mean, it's funny because like I've noticed this in our business, it's funny because, like, I hate to say it, but some people are root for you right now when you're scraping and clawing and you ain't making a damn dime because you've got all this overhead or all this expense to get here. And then in 5 years, when you have 3 guys running dumpsters full time, it's like, oh, he got lucky. I don't like him anymore. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, you still don't realize the sweat and the stress of, running the business. It's funny. Somebody will be like, oh my gosh, I see your signs everywhere. I was like, yep, busier we get, the more headaches for the boss man, but it's no, you're right. Like it's a business that, and I've even said before that for me, especially in like neighborhoods, I always considered renting the dump trailer out, back in there, unhooking it, and then I would have my branded whole roofing truck pull it in and out. So then, like, especially neighborhoods where, it's old 3-tab roofs that's going to need replaced, like, I start getting in their mind, pretty much the neighbor's paying me to market to, so, like, no, I mean, like I said, what I've always used is my team. Like, hey, boss, I got, can you drop a trailer? Can I take a trailer? Absolutely. So, no, it's and like you said, there's not really, you can call the big companies, but especially around here lately, it seems like the big trash companies, like their customer service is zero, zero.
I've had a few people reach out to me. They've seen my posts on Facebook. They're my company page, and they'll send me messages like, hey, is this just dumpster rentals or do you do like weekly pickups?
Right.
Because we are absolutely fed up with these big companies. They claim that their trucks are broke down or they can't come get this dumpster because they're waiting on parts for a truck or anything like that. And I just say, unfortunately, right now I don't do weekly.
Right.
If that builds into the future, we'll see what happens. But I just, I'm a people pleaser. I really am. I don't necessarily want to be extremely busy all the time because I already am.
Right.
But, I'll do what I can to help somebody.
Right. Well, and fortunately, Big B picks up my dumpster at my house in the office.
We're going to change that.
Yeah. And the good thing about their driver I went to school with. And one day he randomly showed up at my house because the office didn't get dumped, and I think the miscommunication was they thought my house didn't get dumped. He's like, I apologize. He's like, we can't keep help right now. And this was like at 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm like,
oh, wow.
He pulled in. I'm like, what in the heck? And he jumped out, So, and I mean, that's just like your weekly, trash dumpster, not like
I know.
trash bins like this. I'm too redneck. I burn half my stuff.
No, I'm not. You're not the only one.
Probably shouldn't say that on the podcast, huh?
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, absolutely. So put enough lumber on it with you,
That's right.
So, but nah. So what else? So bins / dumpsters. Haul gravel. We'll also just do like pickups. Like, so if you're going to do a pickup, like you want them to have the stuff set outside, and you'll just back in there and throw it in the back of your bin, pretty much. Or
I mean, at one point in time, I was going to call it a curbside pickup.
Okay.
But with them, cleaning out, I don't want it sitting on the curb for 3 or 4 days in front of their house because that wouldn't look very, professional on my part.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be guaranteed for me to pick it up.
Yep.
So if they put it, I told people, it's like, if you just put it in the corner of your garage or right outside your garage, take a picture of it, send it to me. I'll say, hey, I can be there at this time on this day for this amount, and then just go from there. And then it's on them. Yeah, that's fine. Or would you do it for a little bit less or whatever?
Right. Nope, good deal. And like I said, you just back in there with your own, with your dumpsters and just throw it in there. So no, that's once again that's another good thing. So what else? Kind of as we conclude here, so your primary them 3 services. Is there anything else that you're looking to add right now that people can reach out about, or let's just stick to what we're doing right now?
We're just gonna stick to what we got right now. That term of too many irons in the fire, I've been told that a lot here, especially by my wife,
Yep.
So.
Well, and I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm impressed because if your wife comes home and vents to you and you just listen and you don't give her, like, steps to take, like, I'm really impressed with that.
Hey, man.
It's so I got to hang out with you more because my wife will be like, every time my wife says something, I'm like, well, I've done this different. She's like, I don't really want your freaking opinion. I just want you to hear it. So
I listen because the family that I was raised in, I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
So it was kind of, I'm the baby brother, and I just listened about, all the stories growing up, and I'm just like, yep, okay. Now, I'm not necessarily like that with my wife because I do listen to her and I care about her, but there's just sometimes where I'm like, I have no idea what you just said.
We'll have Adam cut that part out and I'll put that up there.
That might be a good idea.
But no, Derek, really appreciate you coming in here. And if, anybody watching, if he can help you out, Adam will have a link here at the podcast. And then we're also going to have Adam do a small business spotlight. So it'll be easier to connect with him through Facebook, that kind of stuff. So appreciate you coming in. This will wrap up this edition of the Whole Roofing and Remodeling Podcast. Thank you.